Hello, fellow students. Welcome to the world of business mathematics again.
We are back for another learning journey today.
And I hope that you are full of enthusiasm for this new topic.
So, for this episode, we are going to talk about Payslip. Are you guys familiar in Payslip? So, without further ado, my name is Roslyn C. Santos, 17 years old, an ABM student. And here are my classmates that would also help you to understand what is Payslip.
My name is Pauline Tess Garcia, 17 years old and ABM student.
My name is Maria Concepcion Mabuti, 17 years old, an ABM student.
My name is Julian S. Malonzo, 17-year-old, and an ABM student. Before we discuss the lesson about Payslip, in order to recall what you have learned about the last lesson, let's first have a recap about overtime pay. Other than basic salary or minimum wage and benefit, an employee can earn extra cash through overtime and premium pays. Overtime is a necessity for a company to meet its financial and production goals. More work means product and services. Overtime refers to any hours worked by an employee that exceed their normally scheduled working hours. While a generalized overtime definition refers simply to those hours worked outside of the standard working schedule, overtime commonly refers concurrently to the employee's remunerations of such work. The overtime rate of pay varies between companies and by specifics of the overtime, such as the number of overtime hours worked. Standard overtime rates include time and a half and double time. For example, if you're eligible to receive overtime pay and your standard work week is 40 hours, working 50 hours in a given week means you can earn overtime pay for those 10 extra hours. Employees can render up to 8 hours of overtime work. Some employees, however, are exempt to this rule. The list includes managers, field personnel, domestic helpers, workers who are hired for personal service of another, members of the employer's family who depend on employees for support, and workers whose compensation is results-based. The employee cannot urge or oblige the employer to let him or her to render overtime work if it is not required by the circumstance or there is no extra work to be done. You understand, fellow students? Now, let's move on to the example. So, let's have example 1 from the last lesson to refresh your memory. Example 1 is about finding the overtime pay on a regular day. The given values are monthly rate, which is equal to 18,000 pesos, factor rate or total number of work days in a year, which is equal to 258 days, 246 total regular days plus 12 regular holidays. The solution for daily rate is monthly rate multiplied to regular holidays divided by the factor rate, which is 18,000 multiplied to 12 divided by 258 and is equal to 837.21 pesos. To get the hourly rate, you just get the answer from the daily rate, then divide it to the hourly rate, which is 8 hours. So, it is 837.21 divided by 8. The answer equals to 104.65 pesos. And to answer the overtime hourly rate, it is 1 in 25 multiplied to 104.65 and is then equal to the answer 130.81 pesos per hour. do you follow, fellow students? There are also other examples and formula for calculating the overtime pay in different circumstances where you can learn if you go back to the previous lesson about calculating the overtime pay on a rest day, calculating overtime pay on a special day, calculating overtime pay on a special day coincide with a scheduled rest day, calculating overtime pay on a regular holiday, and calculating overtime pay on a regular holiday coincide with a scheduled rest day. Let's now dive in deep to our lesson for today, but first of all, let's start with an icebreaker.
Hi fellow students, today before we start our lesson, let's have an icebreaker. This is called Guess the Word. The instruction of the game is I will give pictures that you need to identify what is the word behind it. And I'll give you 10 seconds to guess the word. And after, I'll show you the right answer. Do you understand, fellow student? Okay, are you ready? Yes. The first picture of the game. The answer is net pay. Did you get the correct answer? Good job. Next one. The answer is payroll numbers. Did you get the same answer? Very good. So next one. The answer is invoice. Did you get the correct answer? Good job. So, let's proceed to the next one. The answer is management. Did you get the same answer? Very good. So, let's proceed to the last one. The answer is income. Did you get the correct answer? Good job. So, did you enjoy the game? But there's more. We have one more game. So, are you ready? Okay. This game is called Jumbled Words game. The instruction of the game is I'll give you unscrambled letters and you need to arrange to the correct words in 10 seconds. And after, I'll show you the correct answer. Now, let's get started. The first letter. The word is holiday. The next one. The word is basic salary. Do you get the correct answer? Good job. The next. The word is overtime pay. The next. The word is gross earnings. Wow! Do you get the same answer? Very good. The last letters. The word is premium pay. Do you get the perfect score? Now, give yourself a round of applause. Let's proceed to the food for thought. Our food for thought today is, if your dreams don't scare you, they are too small, by Richard Branson. For you, what is the meaning of this quote? Now, I'll share my interpretation. Having big dreams is not what scares us, but we need to do something to turn those dreams into reality. There's need to be a plan to bring them into reality. The heart of every ambition is the plan. But there's have a plan will not make us achieve our dreams and need to act on it daily.
Hi everyone! Before we go to the lesson, let us first know the objectives of this lesson. So here are the lesson objectives. A. Define payslip. B. Use a spreadsheet in the computation of salary and overtime pay. And for the last objective, present graphical representation of the details or particulars of the salary. For this lesson, we will talk about payslip. Have you ever heard of payslip? If yes, then this lesson will be easy for you because of the familiarity. If not, then listen carefully to find out what a payslip is. So, let us find out. What is a payslip? It is a document containing a detailed list about the various components of your salary along with specific details of employment. It is issued every month by an employer, either in the form of a printed hard copy or an electric copy. Payslip is a piece of paper given to someone who is employed to show how much money they have earned and how many deductions have been taken off. A payslip is a document that's given to an employee each payday. It shows their total amount earned, less deductions for things like tax. Payslips show income from salary, hourly wages, or commission. It is proof that you are currently working in the specific company or organization and that you are earning a certain amount per month. This is a summary section which includes your name, employee ID, the pay period dates, check date, and check number, and if you receive a paper check. Understanding the basic elements of a payslip is important for employees to ensure if they are receiving the correct salary and benefits. Employers need to issue accurate payslips to comply with Philippine labor laws and avoid legal issues that may arise from incorrect computations. But why keeping hold of your payslip is important? It is important because payslips contain vital information such as details on gross payment, deduction, benefits, and overtime. With this piece of paper, you can better assess your finances. And that's all for this lesson.
So, for example, payslip reflects all of the items that an employee should know when receiving the compensation. The following materials given were from Sir Alberto Seaton in his YouTube channel. So basically, here is the example of payslip. It should contain the company name, address, employee's name, daily rate, number of days present, number of days overtime hours, number of night shift hours, number of rest days work, number of special days work, and number of holidays work. So that can be seen in the example. So for the earnings, there are basic salary, overtime pay, premium pay, holiday pay, NSD, and other earnings that an employee should have, and that would result to the gross earnings. And after that, you need to subtract the deductions, which are the withholding tax, SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and any other deductions that an employee incurred during the month. So, are you guys following? Okay. And with that, you can get your net earnings, which is the amount you should be giving your employee at the end of the month. So, here is the example situation. Suppose Robert works as a factory worker in ABC Corporation. His regular working schedule are 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. His rest days are every Wednesday and Sunday. His hourly rate is 125 pesos per hour. And then we actually have the calendar shows the actual times he worked in June 2020. We can see that he only worked for 20 regular days and he has 1 holiday work. And he has 2 special days work, or basically 2 rest days work. From that calendar, we can obtain the following number of days present, which is 20 days, but on a normal basis, there are 20 days of regular work. But he has 1 absence, so the reflected number is 21. Okay, great. So, the number of overtime hours is actually 8. His number of night shift hours is 4 because he worked from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Next is the number of rest days work were 2. Then, the number of special days work was 0. And the number of holidays work was 1. So, we have the following example of payslip or its spreadsheet. After plugging in the variables and computing the earnings, you will have the following. So, it should lead you to a basic salary of 21,000 pesos, overtime pay which is 1,250 pesos, premium pay 2,600 pesos, holiday pay 2,000 pesos. So next, we have the following table containing the standard deductions. So if we can recall, his basic salary is 21,000 pesos, right? So for SSS, it is 800 pesos. In PhilHealth, it is 630 pesos because it's the 3% of 21,000 pesos. And Pag-ibig is 100 pesos because any salary that is greater than in 5,000 pesos is the contribution for it is just 100. So therefore, inputting the contributions, the spreadsheet will have the following result. So the next part is to compute for the withholding tax. To get the value of the withholding tax, we have the following table. So to get the taxable income, you will get it by subtracting the gross earnings by the contribution, which is the SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and the sum of that. So we can get that the taxable income is 25,370 pesos. And now the personal exemption is 20,833 pesos and a tax rate of 20% or 0.2 and a base tax which is 0. And that we can get that the withholding tax which is 907.40 pesos. Then you will get a total deduction when you add all the deductions, which is the withholding tax, SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig. And that is 2,437.40 pesos. Therefore, his net earnings is 24,462.60 pesos. You need to subtract the gross earnings and the total deductions, which is 26,900 minus 2,437.40 pesos. And that would result to 24,462.60. Finally, Robert's payslip will look like this. So for another example, we have a payslip with pie graph and try to create it in Excel. So as we can see on table 1, certain cells show an entry, and these cells have been imputed with the following formulas. So in this example, you will learn how to use Excel in the computation of your payslip and to present a graphical presentation of the details or particulars of the salary. Okay, so let's try to solve this. In the given data, the name of the company name is Karunungan Learning Hub. It is located in Hulong Duhat, Malabon City. The name of employee is Jason De La Cruz, and his daily rate is 1,000 pesos. Number of days present is 19 days. Number of overtime hours is 20. Number of night shift hours is 4. Number of rest days work is 2. Number of special days work is 0. And number of holidays work is 1. So for us to determine his basic salary, overtime pay, premium pay, and so on, we can use these formulas if we are using Microsoft Excel. So for us to compute his basic salary, we need to multiply daily rate and number of days present. So in the given data, as we stated earlier, his daily rate is 1,000 pesos and his number of days present is 19. So if we multiplied 1,000 times 19, it is equal to 19,000 pesos. Okay, correct. So this is the solution. So if you are using MS Excel, you need to encode the following formula, which is equal sign C6 asterisk C7. Okay, so next we need to compute for the overtime pay. So overtime pay, it is equal to number of his overtime hours multiplied to daily rate over 8 and then multiplied to 125%. So it is equal to 20 multiplied to 1,000 over 8 times 125%. So it is equal to, okay, correct, 3,125 pesos. So here is for the solution. So if you are using MS Excel, you need to encode the following formula. So it is equal sign C8 asterisk open parenthesis C6 slash 8 close parenthesis asterisk and 1.25. Okay, so next, let's try to compute for premium pay. It is equal to number of rest days work plus number of special days work times daily rate times 130%. So it is equal to 2 plus 0 times 1,000 times 130%. So it is equal to 2,600 pesos. So here is for the solution. And then if you are using MS Excel, you need to encode the following formula. So it is equal sign open parenthesis F5 plus F6 close parenthesis asterisk C6 asterisk 1.30. Okay, good job. So let's move on to holiday pay. It is equal to number of holidays worked times daily rate times 200%. It is equal to 1 times 1,000 times 200%. So it is equal to 2,000. Correct. So here is for solution. So if you are using MS Excel, you need to encode the following formula, which is an equal sign F7 asterisk C6 asterisk 2. Okay, I hope that you understand that. So let's proceed to night shift differential or NSD. It is equal to number of night shift hours times daily rate over 8 times 10%. Okay, so it is equal to 4 multiplied to 1,000 over 8 times 10%. So it is equal to 50 pesos. Okay, great. So here's the solution. Okay, so if you are using MS Excel, you need to encode the following formula, which is equal sign C9 asterisk open parenthesis C6 slash 8 close parenthesis asterisk 0.10. So if we add the basic salary plus overtime pay plus premium pay plus holiday pay and night shift differential, we can get the gross earning. So it is equal to 19,000 plus 3,125 plus 2,600 plus 2,000 pesos plus 50. So it is equal to 26,775 pesos. So here is for the solution. Again, if you are using MS Excel, you need to encode the following formula, which is equal sign E12 plus E13 plus E14 plus E15 plus E16. So maybe you are wondering if the net earnings and gross earnings is the same. So the answer is no, because the net earnings is equal to gross earnings minus the total deductions. So we need to solve for the total deductions first. It is equal to the withholding tax plus SSS plus PhilHealth plus Pag-ibig and others. So it is equal to 903.40 plus 760 plus 285 and 380. So we can get the sum of 2,328.40. So here's for the solution. So if you are using MS Excel, you need to encode the following formula. So it is equal sign E12 plus E13 plus E14 plus E15 plus E16. So it is just the same as the gross earning. So lastly, we will compute for the net earnings. It is equal to gross earnings minus the total deductions. So it is equal to 26,775 pesos minus 2,328.40. So we can get that the net earnings is equal to 24,446.60 pesos. Okay, good job. And then if we are using the MS Excel, we need to encode the following formula, which is equal sign B18 minus E18. Okay, so we can see the following important information in Mr. De La Cruz net payslip. So his gross earnings are 26,775 pesos, and his total deductions are 2,328.40 pesos. Okay. And then his net earnings are 24,446.60 pesos. Okay. So for us to be able to present a graphical presentation of the details or particulars of the salary, you can also use MS Excel.
Now, let's summarize all that we have learned to remember them easily. A payslip is a document issued every month by an employer containing a detailed list about the various components of your salary, along with specific details of employment. A payslip is important because to employees, it is a formal confirmation that you paid your employees and how much you paid them. It shows you, as the employer, that you've upheld your side of the contract and compensated your worker or employee. It also shows the total amount earned, less deductions for things like tax. Payslips show income from salary, hourly wages, or commission, details on gross payments and benefits. Payslip contains information about the company name or logo, the name of the employee, daily rate, number of days present, number of overtime hours, number of night shift hours, number of rest day worked, number of special days worked, and number of holidays worked. The earnings also include basic salary, overtime pay, premium pay, holiday, night shift differential, gross earnings, and others. Deductions includes withholding tax, SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and others. To compute for the basic salary, you need to multiply the daily rate and number of days present. Are you following, fellow students? To compute for the overtime pay, you need to first divide the daily rate to 8 and then multiply it to the number of overtime hours, then multiply the answer you got to 125%. To compute for the premium pay, you need to add the number of rest days worked and number of special days worked, then multiply to the daily rate and multiply it again to 130%. To compute for the holiday pay, you need to multiply number of holidays worked to the daily rate, then multiply it again to 200%. To compute for the night shift differential, you need to first divide the daily rate to 8, then multiply it to the number of night shift hours, and multiply it again to 10%. To compute for the gross pay, you need to add the basic salary, overtime pay, premium pay, holiday pay, and night shift differential together. To compute for the total deductions, you need to add the withholding tax, SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and others together. And to compute for the net earning, you need to subtract the gross earnings from the total deductions. This is all for the summary, fellow students. I hope that you've learned a lot.
Hello fellow students, before we end this video, let me share this food for thought. If you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. Fellow students, for you, what is your interpretation to this quote? Oh, that's right. Now, I'll share my own interpretation. So, this quote is trying to inspire us to take care of ourselves so we can be persistent in times of stress. Instead of quitting during a stressful time, just taking a break could help one to be more productive. Life is simply tiring, but don't make quitting a solution, because we can rest because we are people and we are not robots. We are also tired, but it is important to fight after resting.
And that's the end of our discussion for Payslip.
That's all, and see you to the next episode of this Limitless Education.
Don't forget to like,
Comment, share,
And subscribe.
Thank you for watching. Bye!